Well, we're already getting emails from our better class of listeners who are at members.radradio.com. So they're watching on RADTV, which means during the commercial break, they see and hear what's going on in the studios. So Lauren wrote in and said, Dale Moss is in the building. Totally fangirling right now. Love you, Dale.
I'm fanboying as well.
Heidi says, can we just have one camera pointed at Dale for the entire segment? I just want to stare at him the whole time. Wendy says, I see extra hotness in the studio, and now I'm getting hot. Okay, we get it.
Dang, I'm from Sacramento. I love it.
Dale Moss is here. John from Sircles is here as well. That's why we're going to chat. And what's that like, being a sex symbol to so many women, Dale? They've been going insane since we announced you were going to be
Even
here.
us old ladies.
Oh, yeah, Dawn came in.
I guess, I don't know. I
Better problems
thank
to have?
my parents or whatever. But honestly, I was really excited to come back to Sacramento. It's been since September since I've been back here. But, over the course of that time, I've built a lot of friendships. I still keep in touch with a lot of people. Obviously, I'm here with John, who beyond anything business related, him and Danny have become just great friends. And so I was just stoked to be able to come out and be able to share what's been going on in life, all the good things that we're doing together. And
so through this whole process that when John and Danny have been talking to you, I mean, John has just been like effusively raving about you, and he doesn't do that unless he really means it. And so it's been a thrill to get to know you and talk to you. And obviously we're here to talk about Sircles, but talking about life and stuff. I've taken a few of the questions that people had.
Awesome.
Bullet point. We'll do quick ones here, just see if we can find out from you. Okay, you ready?
Yep, perfect.
All right. We know you spent some time in the NFL. You know what people want to know? What can you tell us about Aaron Rodgers?
I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. So regardless of if you're a Packers fan or not, the things he does behind the scenes is unbelievable. So
leader in the locker room?
Yeah, he really is. And I remember when I came in as a rookie, he actually took time to sit down with all the rookie wide receivers when everyone else was done with practice to ensure that we were getting the playbook down properly and we weren't going to have any issues. So and he was just coming off an MVP season and a Super Bowl at that time. So that's the type of player he is and the type of character he has.
What about life in the NFL in general?
I will say I love the game. I love competing and I miss it a lot. There's nothing like spending time with your teammates and being a part of something like that. But I think one thing that people don't realize all the time is, for athletes in general, it's not always as glamorous as you think, right? The off seasons, you get a little time off, but it's long hours. Obviously, your body and everything is beaten up. But, going back to it, I love sports. I was a D1 basketball player and football player.
You were mainly a basketball. Didn't you? You played all 4 years in basketball.
Yeah.
Right?
I only played 1 year of football, so I was going to sign a contract to play professionally overseas basketball-wise.
Wow.
Didn't want to go to Europe. I was recruited for both out of high school, and it was one of those things
Why do you hate Europe so much?
I love Europe, probably too much at times. But my family was here. Everyone was here, and for me, that's just kind of how I am. I want to be around the people that I love and care about. And I since middle school, I've been on the road through AAU basketball and sports. So I'm someone who, whenever I can carve out and have time with family or at least be able to have access to them, it's extremely important to me.
That's getting the girls more.
Oh,
that was like an audible, oh.
Yeah, like we needed that, right? Yeah. Do you still play any sports recreationally? You get out and play basketball? Or?
Yeah, I still hoop all the time. It's hard sometimes with travel. I feel like, I was on the road more than I was in New York City in the last year for sure. But yeah, I still love competing. I still coach. Me and some of the guys from the show are volunteering and doing some stuff with the youth leagues out in New York this spring. So we all stay involved in some way, shape, or form.
Cool. We're talking to Dale Moss, formerly of The Bachelorette. A couple more questions. Are you currently dating?
I am not currently dating.
Okay. If they made you an offer to be the Bachelor, would you do it?
I'm not. I haven't even thought about that, to be honest. My focus is just living life and all the things. So, that could be down the road. But again, that hasn't even been my thought process. I'm just, I'm the happiest I've been in a long time, and I'm just enjoying this time.
Oh, that's nice.
A lot of your super fans asked a version of this question. I see and hear that you're doing movies now. What's the latest on that part of your career?
So I actually. This was something, I got a lot of flack because people were like, oh, he's just doing this for fame. And
I remember that.
I had never acted, and I didn't even, this role just came across to my manager. And I was like, I'm not really an actor. I've never wanted to, really do that. And she's like, you should audition for this. It seems like your personality. I think you'd align really well with this. And I go, all right, whatever. I auditioned, and they said, hey, we want to make you the lead in this film. And at the time, I was like, oh, sweet, this is awesome. Then we had to leave a week and a half later. So this happened fast. And I remember laying in bed reading the script, and I'm like, what the hell did I commit to? I never have done this. And
oh my gosh.
It was my first go. But honestly, I'm so happy and so grateful I was a part of it, especially considering, that whole production team. They took time with me. They knew it was my first go. I was also dealing with stuff, beyond the film, and everyone was just super patient. And there's something just beautiful being a part of your team. And like knowing I had 65 people relying on me to come through and do as good as I possibly could. So whatever pressures and whatever was going on in the outside world, I had people's like commitment, and part of their, livelihood and the success of that was riding on me as a lead. So I was really, really grateful for it. And I think it's one of those situations in life, like, you can try something new and not be afraid of it, and you never know what will happen with it. When a lot of people will turn and run the other way and say, it's just not for me.
Do you want to do any more of it?
So I'm, there's 2 projects that are potentially in the works, and I can't really dive into them too much, but I loved it. So it's something I'm definitely going to explore. And, I've always wanted to host. I've hosted during 2 Super Bowls and done that. This is like 6 years before the show. So I've been doing a lot of these things well before. And I went to school for video production and film and video. So I've always wanted to be a storyteller, and that'll never change.
So this kind of leads us into the whole thing about you and the kind of guy you are. You mentioned your family and how much time you like spending with your family. You had 4 sisters growing up.
4 sisters,
and
yeah.
Did I say your mom passed away really young?
Yeah, my mom passed away in 2017. So yeah, she was 65 at the time.
It's too young.
But you know what? And it was really tough. That's something that completely shattered our family. And it was unexpected. She went in for a simple knee scope, was fine. She was going to get released the next day. And she called me at 6 a.m. and said, I don't know what happened. All my organs shut down. I'm on 4 forms of life support. I just have to say goodbye because I'm not going to be able to see you. Good. And I remember that was like one of those moments, because I was actually going to fly back the day before to be there for her surgery, and I've never missed anything like that with my family. So it was a very, very, very tough time. But Mother's Day was 5 days later, so we had her memorial service the day after Mother's Day.
Oh gosh!
But a lot of times people will, and they said after this, they said, "Oh, you're handling this so well," and it's like, it wasn't that I was handling it well. It was, I know the love and the family and the structure that we had growing up, and I was able to experience that for 29 years of my life, and most people never, ever get that. And, one of the things that I had to really understand is I can't grieve for my family during that time. Everyone has to go through that process themselves. So I actually kind of stepped away, and I had to, work through and figure some of my stuff out then. But, it's helped me with my perspective in everything in life. And, with anything, I try to focus on the positive. I try to focus on the things that bring me joy. And even if it's a loss, I still have memories. That's how I am with relationships too. Sometimes things don't work out. But I do focus on the good moments, and I'm grateful for every single one of them.
Do you think that comes from your mom? Because, there are a lot of people that would go the other way.
Yeah,
They'd be bitter and angry and negative, and you're not. And that's beautiful, the road you took instead.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. And that's just how I approach life. And I know that that's how I approach things with people in stressful situations. My mother and my sisters, for how things started and what they've had to deal with throughout their life, are the strongest women I've, ever experienced. And I got to see that day in and day out. So, there's a lot of times I know what a strong woman is. I know who, and I know the type of woman that I want, and I appreciate it. And I'm just thankful and grateful that I was able to see that. And also I think about the times when they had to deal with things that I never could, and they didn't hold a grudge. They were never bitter. They would never put things out like, because like that's not a character thing. Like it's not indicative of their character. And even when it's tough, all these times, will pass. But those are the things that I saw, and that's how, I the women in my life like handle things, and my mom is at the center of that. So I feel her presence each and every day. Gonna get some new ink and for my mom on
Nice.
March 7th, and then, or excuse me, May 7th, and just keep it moving. She's with me every day.
Well, and one of your sisters it was kind of your inspiration to become a global ambassador for the Special Olympics.
Yeah, Amber. Amber is awesome. So she's my older sister. I wish all of y'all could meet her. Her spirit and energy and light is just the most beautiful thing. So she woke up at 5 years old and just couldn't walk out of nowhere. And my sister as a kid was so gorgeous, so beautiful. She's still gorgeous and beautiful. But, so, and it's funny. So she had a... this isn't funny, but I'm just saying it's funny how, these instances in our life shape us, moving forward. Yeah. But she had a autoimmune disease where her white blood cells would actually attack her nervous system rather than the bacteria. She woke up one day, couldn't walk. It, affected some of her intellectual disabilities and things. But I remember growing up, she would teach me everything she learned every single day after school, and she's 5 years older than me. So by the time I got into kindergarten,
wow.
I was already reading and everything at like a 6th grade level.
Oh my gosh!
And so that's like with Amber, she takes time with each and every one of us. But I know that with athletics and my passion with Special Olympics and giving back is all from her, because I also understand the gifts that we're given and abilities to move and all that. It could be taken away in an instance. And Special Olympics has been transformative for me in so many ways. And I've been involved on a global scale for over 5 years. And it's something that will never change. And, it's a highlight of, my year every time we get to do some of the big events. I was just at X Games in Aspen, giving a little behind the scenes look at that. So it's a beautiful thing.
So John from Sircles with an S, where'd you find this guy?
Wow. In hearing Dale's backstory, and obviously we've gotten to know each other really well on a personal level, and there's so much more to Dale. There's so many layers, and I'm just so amazed at how much he's been through and how he's used that in such a positive way. Whereas some people, you go through adversity, and some people use that as an excuse to say, well, my life's miserable. I'm just going to be miserable, and I'm never going to be anybody. I'm never going to be anything. And what I love about Dale is that he's turned adversity and challenges into positive energy and success and development, which is incredible. And so, I know we got connected a few months back when we were interviewing with different influencers and exploring, different personalities and people that could align well with the Sircles brand and want to promote and share our values. And so we met kind of indirectly, wasn't intentional at all, but it ended up being just very serendipitous. Such a great relationship. Couldn't be more honored to be in business and be friends with Dale.
And Dale,
and vice versa. Like
you get approached by tons of people that say, "Oh, come on, we got this business, we got this deal." What was it about John and Sircles and Danny and everything we're doing here that grabbed you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was definitely just building a relationship, human to human connection. I think that is such an important thing, and that's how I go about a lot of decisions like that in my life. And honestly, like, John's extremely passionate about Sircles, and rightfully so. And even, even the concept is something that people really naturally gravitated to. So, when it comes to the positivity of the platform, obviously understanding the mark that they've made in Sacramento just when they came out of beta. And I come from a hospitality family, so I understand how difficult it is for so many restaurants and so many venues. And I feel like Sircles is definitely positioned to really fill that need and really help a lot of these businesses. And I also just love sharing. I think that's the biggest thing. And, you look on your phone, or whenever I go to a city, I'm like texting friends. I'm like, hey, what do you recommend? Where's the number one spot you recommend for this and this and this? And I think in the simplest form, just how easy to take some of those steps out of it. So, but the number one thing is they're just great human beings. And, we've developed a strong friendship, and it's going to be an over like a year now, pretty much in June, right?
Yeah.
So, John, last time you were on, which was just a week ago, you weren't even on necessarily. You were just for an update, and you even mentioned, we're not necessarily here to raise money, but we had so many people that still wanted to either invest or reinvest. I had mentioned that I invested an additional $10,000 after seeing the new version, which is just amazing, and we crashed WeFunder again.
Sorry, WeFunder.
And that's official. We reported on it the next day. In case people are hearing this and they're going, well, now Dale's behind it too, and I've heard this. Is WeFunder ready this time?
They tell us they are, yeah. So, they apologize, and I think they've identified the source of the problem, but I guess we kind of overwhelmed them. And, I guess we had hundreds of people weren't able, they got shut out of the investment process. So if you weren't able to get in the other day, try again. It should be working.
Yeah, flood them.
It's
Flood 'em. Shut it down.
so it'll be WeFunder.com/circles with an S. S at
Yes.
the beginning, S at the end. So what exactly is this relationship mean, though? Okay, great. Dale's on the RAD Radio show, and everybody loves that. But how does this whole connection mesh up with Sircles and everything?
Well, just being so aligned with our positive mission and what we're trying to do, having Dale, who has a big platform and an authentic voice, is valuable to the extreme. When we do want to make a lot of noise for the app itself and go public with our new release and get as many downloads as we can and spread the word, Dale's just gonna be a fantastic ambassador for that. He's so influential. People really gravitate to him because he's such a real guy, and that's what Sircles is all about. It's about connecting great people and great experiences. So I really look forward to that time here down the road later this year when we do go big and launch, and we're trying to make as much noise as possible. I can't wait to go on the road with Dale and make a bunch of noise.
Let's do it. Yeah, well, and it's also been really, really special being able to understand the behind the scenes process and all the things that go into the build, and where Sircles is going. I have a background in, just because of New York and relationships, some of the top campaigns, creatives, agencies, PR, marketing. And, early on when we were talking, I said, the thing I love about this is we build the friendship, we build the relationship, but whatever resources I have, I want to be able to help provide to ensure that this is a success. And the team is already scaled, and there's already a lot of great things positioned. So I think everyone's just getting more and more excited because, whatever it is, if it's the top creative or if it's, some of the top agencies or some of the, even just people who've worked on just awesome, successful campaigns, they're all at our fingertips. And a lot of them are really, really excited to get involved with Sircles.
Yeah, I did have a question also for John. So as we're sitting here talking, and Dale mentions his affiliation with the Special Olympics and how great that all is, so for young people who are trying to figure out what they want to do to be able to give back in terms of charity, people like Dale who probably knows best who's credible and who isn't, and where you should donate or where you should spend your time, is it going to be possible for people to favorite their favorite charities? So we could go off of, I would like to get involved in something like that. Who does he go through? And then be able to go visit what his favorites are and find that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And we ultimately want to be way beyond just businesses and entertainment. We want to be able to share, like you said, charities, special events, even all the way down to recipes and personal items. So absolutely,
that's awesome.
The sky's the limit.
So,
Dale, are you going to share any recipes?
Hey, I will. Yeah, I'll start cooking a lot more. There we go. Otherwise, I'm going to get all my friends who are celebrity chefs and stuff on the platform too. So. But people want to share. They really want to, and as the
people love sharing
the concept. Yeah, they love it and taking the guessing work out of it. So I'll get up there and chef it up.
And your answer is always that the sky's the limit. We're open to everything. And then the combination of that and getting rid of the negativity. We got this email from Bethany.
Hey, Bethany.
Says, I own a rental property that I recently posted for rent on Facebook. The post had over 150 comments, and half of the comments were extremely nasty. People saying I'm a disgusting human and I'm outpricing the locals.
Yeah, and you have an Adam's apple, whatever.
I had the property rented within 24 hours with multiple applications, but I wasn't prepared for the negativity. I don't want to do that ever again. As a Sircles investor, I'm super excited for this platform of positive vibes and reviews only. Will there be an option within Sircles that would allow homes for rent to be posted? I would love to avoid the extreme negativity in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't see why not. I mean, really, anything you can think of that people are sharing is open season for us. We want to be able to facilitate sharing of really anything. And I couldn't agree more. It's just, it's unfortunate, this climate we live in, where people think they're smart to make a negative comment. Like, listen to me, I've got something negative to say that somehow puts them on a higher road, and it's like
It's bad.
I don't get it. I don't see how we got here, but that's why this is the time why Sircles is really needed in this moment.
Yeah.
You've got what, Dale? Like 700,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah.
How do you deal with this? I mean, people have to occasionally say negative things,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
when you're in the limelight after the Bachelorette and everything else going on.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. So I'm someone who I don't consume a lot of social media. I'll be honest. I go for like kind of a purpose, but it's hard. Like, I mean, and I've never talked about the split or anything like that. But I will say, when I did go, like at the initial phase when we went through it, like the amount of stuff that was coming in was insane. Going at my family, people,
They're ruthless.
all these different things. And throughout that entire process, and I had to, talk to my family very closely and let them know, do not say anything, no matter what. And it doesn't serve anyone to try to build and pile that on. I've never said anything negative throughout that process, but I remember, like, while you're going through that and people are going at your character, or people who don't know you from anywhere are just like spewing out whatever with their thumbs, it's a lot to take in, and I think there's a lot of people that have struggles with social media. I've witnessed it. I've watched it be consuming for people who were really close to me, and at the end of the day, like, I'm a positive person, and that's what I want to focus on. So it's just amazing how, when people don't have to actually interact face to face, some of the things that come out, but there's ways to eliminate that. And I think, like, there's a lot of platforms, especially like with Sircles, what you're seeing, even like the Facebooks and the Instagrams, are trying to eliminate that and dumb that down as much as possible.
And we talked about that last, and then this is like the big appeal of Sircles is, imagine you could have a social media app where you're actually connected with people you either know or trust, and vice versa, and it's all positive. And you were just explaining last week, we've built in a lot of safeguards to keep the negativity out,
Right.
and, including the, why you made a point last week. It's like, well, why would you recommend something and then write something negative about them? It's not going to
no
ring
it doesn't
true.
make sense.
No.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. I mean, reviews are for strangers. That's Yelp. Recommendations are for friends.
Yeah.
When friends recommend to each other, they're not asking, well, how many stars is that? Is that 3.5 or 4 stars? If I have a good movie recommendation, it's like, hey, you got to see this movie. But it's not like I'm saying, hey, by the way, there's these 5 movies I hate. Let me tell you all about. Like we're nothing. We don't need that, because we're all about people that you know and trust, and that relationship already has that built-in trust. You don't need the mix of the good and the bad. And so that's at our core, a principle. It's all about the recommendation and the people you trust. So no reviews means there's nothing negative.
Well, and I brought this up last week as well, but I do like this, where if it's a place I just don't go to anymore, there's no, you don't leave. You don't list everything. You just unlike it. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. There's not this big to do about it and saying all these horrible things, because just because it's a place doesn't work out for me anymore doesn't mean someone else might not appreciate it.
That recommendation's what's valuable.
Yeah.
I want to know where you're eating and what your favorite places are around town, and especially if I'm traveling, a city I've never been to, like Austin.
Yeah.
It's next time I'm there, I'm definitely gonna be checking out your recommendations.
Mine's a lot of hillbilly stuff. So I don't know.
but it's community support, right? So
Yeah.
you're building
Yeah.
and you're sharing those recommendations with the people who you're already close with, or obviously who will follow and interact with you. So you're really building that community, and so that at least it's not going out to all the masses. People can
Right.
actually see it, but the main intention is to share, hey, this is what I like. I think you should try it, and I stand by this, regardless.
And if Dawn goes back to Austin and she tries a place that she had previously recommended and she doesn't like it, and so she takes it off, it's not like there's a massive notification to all of her
No.
followers.
No.
Hey,
No.
Dawn
No.
hates this place
Right,
now.
right.
Don't even think about it.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's also cool that this cuts down on the where are we going to eat fight. Because you can just pull out Sircles and start scrolling. Because I'm annoying with that. I'm like, I don't know. I
No
just
way.
want something that's like really good.
Yeah.
Now all my really good things are listed in front of me. It makes it so much easier.
Exactly.
So much better. Me and my sisters, literally, every time they come to visit, she's like, where do you want to eat? Where do you want to eat? I'm like, I'm not playing this game right now. I'm not playing this game. I hate that. Where do we eat?
John, this one's for you, but this is pretty in depth. I don't know if we have the answer for this. Cody says, I've got a question about the Sircles people. For the Sircles people on WeFunder, it shows how much I invested, but it would be nice to know a percentage I own. So if someone's invested $1,000 in the first round, how many quote shares do I own? We talked a little bit about this last time.
Yeah, that could be a real long answer just because the investment vehicle is safe. And you kind of have to read through it on WeFunder. It's one of those things that gets priced later in the future, but there is a valuation already pegged to the company, which is much higher than it was even just a year ago. So we're on the right track. Obviously, on paper, this is one of those things where you don't really make your investment back until there's some type of exit, which is what I talked about in the last show.
But on paper, I've already made money.
Oh yeah,
from a year ago.
A good amount. Yeah, like we're talking 4 or 5 times already. So yeah, and that's the idea is as a startup company is growing, the idea is to keep growing the value more and more till there's some type of quote exit. And there's usually 2 kinds of exits. There's one where another big company comes up and buys you at a big high price, and all the shareholders get paid their investment back at presumably a much higher price. That's the one way. Or the other way is you go public in the public market, like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, and your shares are now traded publicly, and you could sell some of your shares or all of your shares, presumably, of course, at a higher price because you grew big enough to do the whole public market.
Oh, that'd be cool one day to see you ring the bell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I have dreams.
Will we let Dale do that? Or you'd be up there with
Oh
Dale?
well, I'll be there.
I'd be the hype man.
Yeah.
Let's go. Ring that bell.
I think it was after
Ring
you
that
left
thing.
last week that I made the point, because somebody wrote in that none of us that are part of Sircles, that are invested in Sircles, that are on the board or anything, none of us make anything unless this thing works.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like
We're not living large off of these investments, these WeFunder.
No,
raises.
not at all. In fact, we basically drilled down all of our spending, for the most part, the vast majority of it, to just development, because it's the most important thing at this stage, obviously, is having the perfect product. It doesn't do us any good to raise millions of dollars without having the product in the end. So no, we're very focused on getting that right, and then eventually, of course, when it does pay off, that's when we all get to celebrate, cash that big check, and say we did it.
Richard says via email, will there be groups so loners like myself can make friends without it feeling like a dating site?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Actually, we are experimenting with kind of a group, like a group messaging kind of thing that is also where you can share and post things. Like, let's say a softball team wanted to post their schedule at the top, but they also can communicate with each other, have their own like private group kind of thing. That kind of take a little bit, borrow from like Facebook groups and some other things, but have our own Sircles brand on it.
Yeah.
So if people are interested in getting in on the WeFunder, they've got how much longer to be part of this one?
There's only a few days left. We're closing a week or two from now. I think less than 2 weeks. I think maybe 10 days. And so yeah, if you're interested in investing and taking a little piece of equity in this company, hopefully riding a big wave with us, it's at WeFunder.com/Sircles, and the Sircles with an S, SIRCLES. But it's pretty easy. You can do I think you do a credit card or connect your bank to it, and I think you can invest for as little as $250.
This is the second time in a week that you've said we're hoping to be large by the end of the year. So still on target?
Still on target. Everything's been going exactly to how we planned, with the built-in cushion. The developers are like, oh, we'll have it all rewritten in 6 months. And we're like, okay, so 12 months.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, we're on a good pace.
And Dale, when do we start seeing you big time, large, like nationally, all over the place, selling Sircles to everybody?
So I think the number one thing is, like John said, really focused on the development, getting there. But we've already been talking about a lot of really creative ideas, building out the campaigns, to really get the community involved, but also share people's stories. And it's not far off as well, the in-person meetups. I think we've talked about that too.
No.
Like in local areas. But they're so
boy,
good.
Dale.
Little satellite or pop-up events, especially in markets that don't necessarily get some of those things. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna get through the summer and really start putting this thing into overdrive.
It'll be like the Beatles. All those girls and boys too, baby.
It's not going to be a dating one. It's going to be like
They can't help it when they
going
see
to
them.
embody the establishment.
Hey,
There
man,
we go.
I could barely help it when I saw him today. I'm
Right?
like, man.
And he does smell good. I
Yes.
want to report to all
Right.
you girls, because I said, I bet he smells good.
Yep.
He looks like he smells good.
Got it. Smell good.
You're fantastic, Dale. I'm so glad to have you as part of the Sircles team. And thanks for coming on our show and putting some real celebrity into this thing.
What are you calling me?
Really looking forward to working with you. Anything we forgot, John? We all good?
No, I forgot to mention last time, there is one little thing. We have been hearing that some of the WeFunder investors and followers are not getting emails. It's the weird thing, like, how emails work. Like, half of them are going to spam. So if you feel like you're not getting updates, we are giving regular updates all the time. Just make sure you add Sircles and WeFunder to your safe sender list in your email box. Otherwise, like literally like half of emails are going into spam filters.
Yeah.
And it's wefunder.com/circles with an S. Dale Moss, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
John, see you again next time.
Great to meet you.